Welcome to heartChorus. Today I'm going to really make things absolutely as simple as possible, and to do that it's going to be a little bit of a stutter step in terms of how you may have conceived of the process in the past. A lot of the process that we're looking to cultivate is a inner sensitivity to the movement of the heart. And a great deal of that has to do with a sensational awareness. So, you know, you're literally looking to develop a sense of the heart in its beating, in its rhythm, and be able to work with that as a sort of what do you call that? A guiding principle or a guiding. Sorry, I'm at a loss for words. Yeah, exactly. What I'm going to do today is going to completely alleviate that as focused on your process. I'm going to turn it into my process. So as you breathe and as you vocalize, you're going to be following me, and I'm going to be following you. So within the range of your heart rate variability will fit within mine. My heart rate variability expands drastically beyond that, just out of practice. So what I'm going to do is join with you in the vocalization process, and in the midst of that, I'm going to basically be following your shift between an autonomic tone between parasympathetic and sympathetic, and so there's going to be an entrainment. That means basically as you follow with my breathing, with my vocalization, that I'm going to reflect what your body's doing with how my body is behaving moment to moment. So it's almost sort of, I'm surrendering the movement of my autonomic tone to what you're experiencing as your autonomic tone. Now, this works because of a familiarity. That's the only thing that's different. And so there's, you know, it's not got to do with necessarily mastery. If a person understood the process with this technology, with this presentation, it would be the same outcome. But it's just a few points of understanding that make this possible. If you would, you can go ahead and close your eyes. And just as we have done before, if you would, you might turn your palms over, place them at the base of your thighs there, whatever's comfortable. And we're just going to start with a harsh H sound, and very slowly kind of tiptoe into that in the breathing pattern. Low pressurization. Kind of a sigh.
Do I follow simultaneously?
Nope. You do what you do. I'll catch up to you. Nice steady. Little compression. Now you can continue with that. And we're just going to kind of adjust things very slightly. We're going to soften the out breath so that it slows it down a bit. Very good. Continue with that. Now we're looking to really steady that so that it's a consistent sound coming from your vocal cords or the baffling of your throat. Excellent. See if you can slow that just very slightly. Excellent. In the next couple of breaths, when you're comfortable with it, I'd like you to use your most comfortable voice to begin the vocalization. Very good. Keep going. So little by little, you're going to reach toward matching me in my vocalization. Shift up one. Now go deep. Highest so far. Let's increase volume. Up some. Comfortably low. Clear. Volume. Smooth it out. extend your throat a little bit to get that balance. See if you can climb to the most clear tone. Volume. Try to be louder than me. A little more brass to the tone. Tone it down. A little bit less. A little breathier. back to the harsh H. Kind of shift into a sigh. Now kind of a huffing sigh. Let your shoulders just drop on the out breath. Nice measured out breath. Take it over with a natural, entering back to your natural breathing pattern. But finish the breath. When you get to a certain point where it feels comfortable, if you recall the baby's breath, that's the pattern. The in-breath handles itself. The out-breath is a little longer finish, but it's a huff, like a baby breathing as it sleeps. Comfortable, just raise your hand and you feel like you're back into a normal breathing pattern. All right. So if you want to open your eyes, this is useful information just the same. You're obviously looking for the green, and the something that's interesting to note is that this has as much to do with a longer term shift in your heart rhythm as it does with the shorter term shift in your breathing pattern. So basically, when you enter into this type of breathing pattern, you're going to notice the rising and falling of coherence. Coherence is basically when you enter into a very uniform sinusoidal waveform in the speeding up and the slowing down of your heart rhythm. That represents the shift between parasympathetic and sympathetic tone. But you'll notice that itself rises and falls as you go along in this breathing pattern. So basically, the longer you're able to maintain this, the the more that you'll notice that that wave actually climbs higher and drops deeper. You're expanding your heart rate variability. Your heart is going to beat very fast at the height of it, and your heart's going to beat very slow at the bottom of it. So why is that important? As you can imagine, with with exercise in general, you're looking to to improve the capability of your body to manage very high intensity and very low intensity. And that low intensity can come from a lack of oxygen, for example, or it can come from a high degree of engagement. So this represents your heart in a resting state in its capability of managing the basically metabolism. You're taking in oxygen, and through the vocalization you're compressing that oxygen within your lungs, and it changes the gas exchange that you're experiencing moment to moment. So when we see the rising and falling of heart rate variability, essentially the change in the vocal is changing the gas exchange, it's changing the apparatus itself, how you are engaged, physically, which I'm sure you can testify, that basically the amount of air that you're baffling through the vocalization drastically changes the compression. It changes the way that your body oxygenates. So this concept of providing the body exactly what it needs to create the vocalization through the process of breathing through the vocalization is what I'm trying to communicate with this exercise. Now this thing that we've done together is basically entrainment. Entrainment is commonly understood with the concept of the clockmaker's shop, where a clockmaker will have all these clocks in his shop, and they're pendulum swings at a certain rate. He completes one, he puts it on the wall, they're all swinging at the same rate. Eventually that new clock the pendulum will begin to swing with the other pendulums in that clockmaker shop. This is a phenomenon that's well known, where basically it's not necessarily the exact swing, but it is the phase lock between the swings. This is something that is well known with mechanical clockmakers. That eventually an entrainment occurs where their clocks begin the pendulum swing at the same rate. This is something with organisms that happens as well. The first off the top of my head example of this is with cycles of the moon, and with the effect that it has on people. So when I am vocalizing, when I'm breathing in the same pattern as you, my heart rhythm is beginning to shift in that same pattern. My autonomic tone has begun to shift in the same pattern as yours. I'm shifting from parasympathetic to sympathetic tone in the same cycle as you are. And we know that because I know that because I can feel my heart beating in my chest, and I can tell when it's speeding up and slowing down. And then I can also bear witness to what you're experiencing as well. So this is another layer that is sort of indicative of what I'm interested in achieving with the chorus. The chorus is all about entrainment, and that entrainment is between organisms. So when we do this together, it's not necessarily that we're breathing in the same pattern. It's not necessarily that autonomic tone is rising and falling in the same pattern. There is an undercurrent that is beyond that, that is happening with everyone involved and potentially observing. The idea is that it's possible to communicate a trend, and that trend is in perception. Everything that we're accomplishing with this breathing pattern is something that is intrinsic, it's incipient to our being as mammals. The idea is to set the stage so that we are capable of experiencing a communicable trend, and that trend is directed inward to the sensorium, to the sensations of the body in total. So we just had a bit of a taste of it between you and I, and it is, if you would, how would you describe the experience of vocalizing together in this way?
Well, in the purest sense of it, it's synchronicity, and you feel that not only in the tone, you know, but also in the breathing. You can feel it. You begin to anticipate the other person's breath.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, the largest choir that I've assembled, I think, was 7 people, a family and a small group of other people together. And the trend in sort of the sensation of it, the sort of underlying current of mental focus. I don't know exactly how to describe it, but it becomes very number one, hypnagogic, and so there's a sort of relaxed sense of self. There's sort of a diminished expectation, and you begin to feel as though the separation between yourself and others, especially with the eyes closed, obviously, it sort of calls back to where this all started with me, which was trying to figure out how to get people to play improvisational music together. That was the whole thing to begin with. When you're in that zone, when you're in that mode of playing improvisational music, there's a sort of diminishing of self and a recognition and following, a participation with something that emerges in the midst of a group of people. This is the goal of the chorus, which is to basically sublimate oneself and experience that thing that emerges in the midst of it. So I appreciate that description, and I also would like to point to the fact that what we're experiencing that's charted here is actually somewhat of a marker of that effect, because the further we go into coherence, and coherence is measured in the green bar. It's the thing that we're looking for most of all. Basically, that green bar represents a smooth transition from parasympathetic to sympathetic tone. It matches the breathing pattern. It's the way the heart's beating in the midst of that. The more we can generate that, the more we are capable of not only identifying that trend as a everyday sort of sensation, something, for example, when I first started doing this, it took me forever to kind of get this feeling of my heart beating through the transition between parasympathetic and sympathetic tone. Now I can sit down and it's almost as if my heart is just like, it's ready. It just wants to do it, you know. That is kind of what we're beginning to become sensitized to in the high states of coherence in that transition from autonomic tone. The experience that you have when you're in training with another person is it becomes somewhat intimate, and there is an opportunity with the vocalization to begin to allow more vulnerability in the voice. It sneaks up on you, and then you notice it because all of a sudden, oh, did I go too far? Or, you know what I mean? Have I exposed too much? It's a little bit uncomfortable, but then if you're wrapped in the process, you just continue to the next vocalization. So this is one of the things that I find to be particularly useful about this exercise, is that it allows you to integrate that vulnerability as an acceptable outcome, because you've primed the body, you've primed the nervous system for it to be an acceptable outcome. You're completely capable of handling that degree of exposure. You're completely capable of easing into a very challenging vocal, for example. When we went very high, there is vulnerability expressed in that the height of that vocalization. Yeah. But you stay with it, and breath by breath, you begin to melt away that sense of distortion, that sense of tension that arises because of it. And little by little, just as we've done in previous sessions, previous classes, you were able to work through the stress in the voice. This is the same thing, and now the opportunity to experience it as a mutual sort of burden between yourself and another person is put on the table. With a larger circle of people, it's even more so. It becomes a little bit more complicated because we all can't breathe at the same pattern. That's the only barrier. But do you have any further questions?
No, I guess not.
Pretty simple, yeah?
Yeah.
It really is very intuitive. It's not a complicated thing. It's, in fact, the complication of it is the simplicity of it. It really is a matter of surrender, and is there nothing more difficult than surrender?
Right.
You know? So.
I do have one little question. What do you think
Sure.
happened in that one spot where there's no green?
Here?
Yeah.
No green.
So,
Oh, here.
Yeah.
I believe that was actually when we went from very high to very low.
Ah.
And
Interesting.
you'll see that when basically you create a different pressure variable, you're pressurizing the lungs in a different way. And
big change.
Your whole body has to adjust to a different level of gas exchange, and if I'm not mistaken, that's exactly what that was. I wish I could figure out. I used to be able to just press a button and it would just show me the whole span
Yeah.
of the line up and down.
Yeah.
I don't know why I can't do
Can't
that
find
right
it
now.
tonight.
I'll figure it out. I'll
Never
figure
can
it out.
find that stuff when it's important.
Yeah, of course. But that spot specifically, I believe, was where we went from high range to very low range, and that was the transition there.
That's probably the most uncomfortable moment for
Oh
people.
yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, we were at the highest height of the vocal, and I said, "All right, go as low as you can."
I'm a little congested.
It's understandable. So, with that, I appreciate your participation, and thank you very much for joining me on this adventure. Congratulations! You did great. That was awesome.